afternoon, everybody. Excited to be back to share some information with you. I know I did this at the beginning, I think right after the Thanksgiving holidays, but I wanted to come back to let you know, first of all, I will be here at Batesville Elementary. I thought it was going to be here till Christmas holidays, but I'm very fortunate for them to ask me to stay here until basically spring break. So we have about 2.5 months to work together. You, parents, teachers, students, and myself to be successful by the end of the year. So a couple of things that I wanted to mention about how we can make sure that our children are successful and that we need your help, parents, to make sure this happens. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is, after reviewing this week it was an all of a sudden kind of, we were going to virtual, and then again, we're going virtual this week. But one of the things that we really need your help on, parents, is that you are helping your children log in or reminding them to log in according to the schedule that was placed on Facebook. I know teachers have been putting it in Class Dojo or sending it in Google Classroom. However they're communicating with you, we have a schedule that the students are to follow to log in. So one of the things I want you to be assured of is, even though they have a class day from 7:45 to 3:15, if you look at the schedule that was provided, they're not online the whole time. We've worked it out. Research shows that it's not good for children to be on the whole time. We've worked it out to where there's in between times of asynchronous instruction, which means students are working on their own without actually using the resources online. They're able to do writing their essay, those kind of things. They're synchronous, meaning that they're online working with the teacher, and asynchronous. So we don't have them on for a whole 8 hours, because I know that's a concern with parents that thinking that their child is online the whole 8 hours. That is not how the schedule works. But we do have a handful of children who still haven't logged on this week, and we need for them to log on. I will say on a positive note, because I'm always comparing what's happening in the other schools with UCISD, is that we have the highest percentage per capita, meaning the amount of students that we have, of students who are logging in. But you know how I am, I'm very competitive. I would love for us to see that we have as close to 100% of our students who are registered at Batesville Elementary to be logged on. So let's try to work to getting our children logged on. What I love to add to that is that we have our students turning in their work. But if we can just work on the fact of getting our students logged on, listening to teachers, being connected, finding out exactly what they need to do, I think that, that would be great for me to go back to Uvalde when I have my principal meetings and say, this is the percentage of students that we have. So that's a challenge I have for you guys, is I'm going to challenge my teachers to make sure that they're having parent contacts, that they're, finding out what's going on if a child hasn't logged on. But we need your help. We need for you to make sure that your children are logging on according to the virtual schedule that was shared with you on Facebook. So that's the challenge for our parents at Batesville Elementary. We're going to do our part. I'm promising you that. We're going to push the teachers to make sure they make contact, but I also want to make sure that we know that we have your support to make sure your children are logging on. Okay? The second thing I want to talk about is the equipment. We are very fortunate. We've had people from Del Rio and Eagle Pass leadership ask, how is it that we're doing such a great job? UCISD is probably one of the premier in the state when it comes to providing virtual instruction for our children on a daily basis. And that's because the number one thing is the district decided to invest in the latest iPad or digital equipment, including the hotspots, to make sure that every child has the same opportunity as all. We're no longer having to worry about using our phones, old laptops, whatever it was that we did back when we started with COVID instruction. Everyone's the same. So we want to make sure that everybody takes care of it, because I know within the first 4 weeks that we received those iPads, I was a little concerned because we were getting on a daily basis at least 1 or 2 of the laptops, iPads, coming back with cracked screens. I just want to let you know that unfortunately, if a child brings in a iPad with a cracked screen, it is up to the parents to pay a $50 fee service fee to get that screen taken care of. So your child will get his iPad the same way, but we don't want to add that extra expense, especially during COVID. So if you can do us a favor, again, we're reaching out for help. We're doing our part to make sure we're reminding students how to handle the equipment. Please help us out, parents, by making sure that you're watching that your children aren't just leaving the iPad on the couch and baby brother comes and sits on top of it. Or let's just be very, very conscientious that we're taking care of the equipment, because we are very fortunate compared to big cities like Eagle Pass and Del Rio, who have not been able to provide the same service for their students. And Uvalde is very, very, the students of Uvalde or CISD are very lucky to have that. Now that leads into the fact that I want to kind of show you that we still have, hopefully I can get over here, we still have a large handful of parents who have not, and I know that we've been contacted because I've been, like I said, doing my part to make sure that my staff is doing it, that have not picked up the hotspots. So I know that if you have a hotspot, it's because you're needing the internet connection so that your child can log on. It's, we've been calling all week long. So I've made the decision that starting on today, and especially starting Monday, that if your child's not logging in, and we've called you that we have your hotspot ready, your child's going to be counted absent. And we don't want to do that. Our children, it's important that they're logging in. We don't want on the report card or their permanent record that they've been absent 12 days because they don't have this. It's just a simple way of coming to pick up your hotspot. Please do that. Like I said, I'm doing my part to make sure my staff is on top of it. We're making phone calls on a daily basis. We just need for you parents to come and help us by picking up your equipment so that your children can log on. Okay, I think last thing about equipment is I did have some cases before Christmas where the iPads were used what we consider an inappropriate way, meaning using it to take pictures and leaving them on the devices. I don't think that was ever intentional by our students, but when an iPad's laying around, there might be an older relative or somebody who doesn't realize it's a school property equipment and pictures are taken. So we want to make sure that we're using them in the appropriate way, meaning only for school use. All right, thank you parents for helping us out with that. Virtual week to week, as you probably got a notice from Uvalde CISD that we are going virtual next week again. Unfortunately, I'm the first one. I like to plan ahead, but COVID doesn't allow us to plan ahead, as far advanced. So please bear with us when we give you a notice, like we did last night, that it's going to be a week to week. As you see in the newspaper, you've seen in the news about how the cases are growing. We just want to make sure we're safe. So please bear with us and be patient when we give you I consider a last minute notice that you have to prepare, find someone to take care of your children. The following week, we're trying to do our best. But no, the great thing about it is that your children can continue their learning once they log on. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was, Miss Simpson and her crew always, ever since when I came in 1985, have always had a sense of pride of making sure the campus always looks neat and clean, decorated, whatever it happens to be during the holidays. And unfortunately, which I used to pride myself in telling everybody, we take care of our campus. We were never one of the campuses that had vandalism like they did in Uvalde. But I know I was a little kind of disappointed when Miss Simpson, when I came back, mentioned that a lot of the beautiful Christmas decorations that had been donated by a church and they fixed up and it looks beautiful had been vandalized by a group of students. So I do want to mention that unfortunately, or fortunately, the campus has been equipped with security cameras. We don't want to have to make a phone call to someone's family or parents that a child has been caught on camera vandalizing the school. So I'm all about having this available for you guys because this is the heart of the community. You are welcome to continue to use the track for walking. Kids can sit there and play football on the football field, however we've done before. I'm also open to kids being able to use the playground equipment because we're very limited in Batesville. I'm all about kids being outside and playing. The tower equipment is available for students to use, but we really want to adhere to there is no reason for students or anybody to be going in and out of the buildings because we have seen some damages on some certain equipment that is costly. And like I said, over and over again, I think I feel comfortable enough to say in the 29 years that I was here at Batesville, that was the one thing that I knew I could share with other campuses, that we always took pride in our campus. So I want to make sure that everybody kind of follows through, help us out by reminding your children that if they're going to come to the campus to play at the football field or play at the tower playground, that they remember to stay away from this area. There are signs that say no one should be here after 5 o'clock. But we've always been able to compromise with the community because we know this is the heart of the community. So I know that was a lot. I appreciate that you've been patient to hear some of these things. It was just some items that the staff and I decided we thought we would take it out to ask parents for support, the community support, because we're going to do great. Batesville School has been very fortunate. I've worked with the teachers for a while now. Excellent teachers. We just need for you to help us out, parents, by reminding your children to log on, to do their work, use their iPads in the appropriate way, and make sure that when they come on the campus that they're about taking care of the school and not taking care of the school. Oh, I think one last thing. We're going to have kind of a rally. Ms. Simpson mentioned to me that there might be multiple layers of technology that's in the student's hand. The only thing that's needed right now for them to continue their instruction is the iPad that they received, which is the latest one they got this year. If you have Chromebooks or any other iPads that are school equipment, for the next 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, I'm going to work it out, we're going to be launching a rally to get those back, because the more equipment we get back, the more we can have in classrooms and students are able to manipulate and use them versus them being at home, because they don't do any good at home, because the only iPad that is going to be used for instruction and works with the hotspot is the one that they received this year. So be listening, and I'm sure we're going to do another Facebook kind of announcement about retrieving some of those Chromebooks and some of the iPads that might have been given to the students to use in the last few years. Okay, I think that's it. Ms. Simpson's looking at me like, that's enough, Ms. G. But thank you so much. I'm really, really excited about being here for the next 2.5 months. We'll see what happens after that. But again, Batesville has always, always been a sense of pride for me. I know it's a sense of pride for you guys that have gone through the system. Let's just continue that legacy. Let's continue our plaques on the wall that we've had before. Let's go back to the glory days that we had. And that it all has to do with the staff, and it has to do with the community. So thank you. Have a great weekend, and go Batesville.